Hello friends and welcome to another instructional video. In today's video, I am going to go over the basics of sharing files with Google Drive. Many of our class assignments will be submitted using Google Drive. The first step is to make sure that you are signed in to Google Drive. I recommend typically the first way to start with a Weber account is always to make sure that you're logged into your eWeber. If you don't know how to do that, usually this would have a little empty head. Since I am not signed, I am signed in already. My head is there. If we come over to eWeber, you'll notice that you can access your Gmail. If you come to featured, yours is going to be Wildcat Mail, and you'll notice that there are two Gmails here. And this is going to be important later, but just keep in mind that faculty and staff have a weber.edu email address, and students have a mail.weber.edu. So these are separate systems, and in a little bit I'll talk about why that's important. So once you've accessed your Gmail, I find the easiest way to access Google Drive is to go up to what some people refer to as the Google Waffle. You'll notice this array of 9 dots. If I click on that, that brings up the different Google apps, okay? And the one we're looking for is Google Drive right up here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Google Drive. So if I'm in my Google Drive, this is basically my drive. Priority, it will kind of show you some things that you've opened often. You can also click on Shared with Me. Today we're just going to stick to my drive. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a class folder just to kind of keep things organized a little bit. So I'm going to click New. I'm going to click Folder. And I'm going to call this Tech Class Fall 2020. Okay. So now I have a folder. And if I double click on that, it's an empty folder. So I can create something in that folder if I go to New, and I'm going to start with a Google Doc. So here is a test Google Doc. I'm just going to call this Test 1. And let's say that this is a completed assignment. Obviously, it's not right now, but let me just make that a little bigger. And I want to submit this. If it's finished, I would go, one way to do it is to click this Share button. And you'll know that you're logged in if your name is up here in the upper right-hand corner. But I'm going to click this Share button. And this recently changed. So if you're used to the old version, just notice that they've changed the interface a little bit. And now one way to do it would be I could share it with a specific person. So if you're working on a group or you're working on something that's relatively confidential, you might want to share it explicitly with a certain person. For my classes, though, I want you to share it more generally. And it's a method called anyone with the link. So if I come to this bottom part, it's warning me that getting the link, it's still restricted. But I'm going to click on this button where it says Change Link to weber.edu. And that gives me the option then to share it with anyone at the weber.edu domain. That's still not the one I want to do, but if you notice there's a little triangle there, little drop-down menu. We'll go ahead and we want to go with this anyone with the link option. You may have anyone at Weber State right here. I'm not sure how it looks on the student side, but that is not the option we want. We want anyone with the link. And you'll notice that we can give anyone with the link different privileges. So I just want people to be able to view this, and I want the same for your assignments. So I want to be able to view your assignments, but I'm not going to actually change them. So here we go. We could allow to be commenter or editor. Those would both be able to make changes or at least comments. We're going to stick with this viewer option. I'm going to click Done. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to do, though, was to copy the link. So I'm going to open that back up, share, and you'll notice it's reminding me that this is public on the web. Anyone on the internet can with the link can open. Okay, and we're just going to go one more step here. We're going to copy that link. Okay, and I'm going to paste that into my document just so you can see what it would look like. So that is the link that then you would submit or use in a cover sheet in one of our assignments. Now, one thing about Google Docs, it doesn't automatically change that into a clickable link until I hit the space bar. you'll notice that the color changed from black to blue. Alternatively, I can also hit enter and it will change that into a link, and that makes things a little easier. Okay, so that's one way to share a file. Let's try another way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually upload a file from my computer, because there might be some times when I ask you to upload maybe a screenshot or a video. So I'm going to click, so I'm in my folder, I'm going to go to New, File Upload, and then let's see on my desktop, maybe I might, I'm going to switch my view here so I can see kind of what some of these pictures look like. Let's upload a picture of the library. Okay, this is one of my screenshots. So I am going to upload that. Okay, if I double click on that, it will open with a preview so I can see what it looks like. One option to share would be to click on these three dots in the upper right hand corner. And then I can go to the share. But that will be similar to the last way I showed you. I want to show you how you can share a file right from the drive without even opening the file. If I right click on this, you'll notice I get many options, and one of them is share. So let's go ahead and click that share button. Once again, I want to change this from restricted. Right now, restricted, only people added can open with this link, and it's suggesting change link to weber.edu. I'm going to click that. I don't actually want that option, but I can change that to anyone with the link. Okay, and it's giving me a little warning that people can see comments and suggestions. That's okay. And I'm going to click done. And one way to check to see if you've properly shared a file, you can always come to go to File, New Incognito Window. So this window it doesn't record any history, and it also knows that I'm not logged in. So let's try, I'm going to go here and I'm going to get shareable link. I'm going to copy that link, and then I'm going to come over to my incognito window, and let's see what happens when I paste that in there. Okay, it opens the document. Alternatively, let's put another file in here. So I'm going to put a new file, Google Doc, and let's test another one. So we'll call this one test2. And I'm going to, let's see, click here. And let's just make this a little bigger. So this is going to be test2. And maybe let's try doing this. I'm going to change this. And maybe I'll just go with the suggestion. And like I said, your suggestion will probably say at mail.weber.edu or anyone at Weber State University. And I'm going to click copy link. I'm going to click done. And now if I come back over to that incognito window, let's see if we can open test2. Okay, so now it's asking me to sign in. So it's not giving me access. So it's always a good idea to test this out in an incognito window. And I can just get that by going to File, New Incognito Window. You'll also notice that I'm using the Google Chrome web browser. I find that this is most helpful to access all of the eWeber content using the Chrome browser. I've run into the least amount of problems. So thank you for learning with me, and I'll see you next time.